from our studios in downtown Salisbury. This is WMDT 47 News at 10.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm David Caldwell. More news in less time starts now. And we begin with developing news out of Salisbury. Around 8:45 this evening, we began hearing initial reports of shots fired in the area of Route 13 and the Maryland-Delaware state line, potentially near the Maryland State Police Barrack. WMDT's Kelly Rule is on the scene where there is plenty of police activity. She brings us the latest on this ongoing situation. Kelly, what can you tell us right now?
Yeah, David, details are still very limited at this time, but here's what we do know. A Maryland State Police trooper was badly injured out here tonight. PRMC officials say he is currently being treated in their emergency room, but it is not for a gunshot wound. Now, we did get initial reports of shots being fired out here. We just have yet to confirm that with police. But as you can see, it is still an extremely hectic scene out here. Both sides of Route 13 are still blocked off. There was a crowd out here watching the scene earlier today, but they've cleared out since then because investigators have kind of tried to clear them out so they could continue their work out here. But again, David, details very, very limited at this time. What we do know, though, is that a Maryland State Police trooper was injured out here tonight. Reporting live in Salisbury, Kelly Rule, WMDT 47 News.
All right, Kelly, thank you very much. Again, quickly, just to recap for you, there was police activity in the area of Route 13 and the Maryland-Delaware state line. You can see behind Kelly there, it looked like a vehicle in the median. We don't know how or in what way that might be related to this investigation. As Kelly said, details are limited. We here at WMDT will continue to work to bring you the latest as it develops.
Well, we did see some cooler conditions for your afternoon today. High temperatures only reaching right around 41 degrees. David?
All right, thank you, Travis. And turning our attention now to the courtroom. A federal judge has denied a request by former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell to limit prosecutors' involvement in a civil case against the government's key witness. Prosecutors had previously requested and received a delay in a civil case involving former Star Scientific CEO Johnny Williams, who's being sued by investors who claim that he falsely promoted the company's products. He reportedly gave more than $160,000 in gifts and loans to McDonnell and his wife Maureen in exchange for helping him promote the company. A Pennsylvania man has been sentenced for an attempted murder in Ocean City. According to the Worcester County State Attorney's Office, on March 11th, Elvin Mendez Espada was sentenced to 30 years in prison. The defendant pleaded guilty back in January to 1 count of attempted second-degree murder, 2 counts of assault, among other charges. The judge in the case told Mendez Espada, quote, "I view you as a dangerous person who has forfeited their right to be in society," end quote. In the first state, Nathan McNeil of Dover pleaded guilty to second-degree murder today in Kent County Superior Court. McNeil was charged with the murder of 18-year-old Imir Waddell that occurred in the Whatcoat apartment complex in February of 2013. A second victim, a 19-year-old male, was also shot during the incident. An investigation by the Dover Police Criminal Investigations Unit led to his arrest, and he will serve a minimum of 25 years. A contentious law change is again being pushed by activists in Delaware. Repealing the death penalty stalled in a House committee last year, but as WMDT's Cody Leibowitz explains, opponents look to reignite the talks to end capital punishment.
It's a life-death issue.
No rally cries this year. Instead, dozens of activists wearing buttons exclaiming their mission take their campaign to repeal the death penalty right into the heart of Legislative Hall in Dover.
It's not to say that we don't want justice. The best type of justice is having someone serve life without the possibility of parole.
Leading the movement on Wednesday, National Advocate Sister Helen Prejean, who wrote Dead Man Walking, the true story of convicted criminal Elmo Sonnier, which later inspired a film of the same name. For inmates currently on death row, activists call the system broken and unfair. In Delaware, 17 men have death sentences. One has been awaiting lethal injection for the past 22 years. The last capital punishment seen through was in 2012.
And we are a society that still thinks there are some crimes in which we can commission our government to kill our citizens because they have done bad acts.
Last year, the bill stalled in the House Judiciary Committee by 1 vote, 6-5, after it passed the Senate 11-10. Representative Stephen Smith voted against the bill and said he would again this year.
I can see overwhelmingly more people that would like to see it as it remains.
Cody Leibowitz, WMDT 47 News.
Now, if reconsidered and if passed, Delaware would be the 19th state to abolish the death penalty. And of course, for more on this, plus any of today's local headlines, head to our website, WMDT.com. In your consumer news tonight, well, just how much do you have tucked away for your golden years? Or is it something that you're even thinking about? Well, a new national survey reveals some troubling numbers. According to the Employee Benefit Research Institute, about a third of American workers have less than $1,000 in savings and investments, and only 44% of those surveyed say they've tried to calculate how much they'll need to save for their golden years.
It seems far off. When you get out of school, your first thought is getting a job, getting settled, moving on with your immediate dreams. The retirement reality doesn't often set in until you hit about 40.
So how much should you save when you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all. You have to calculate your debt. You have to calculate in your debt and spending factors such as marriage and kids. And it really depends on the lifestyle you want to lead. So a tip is to reevaluate your savings goals at least once a year. And every time you get a pay raise, give yourself a savings raise too. And now to the stories making headlines across our nation this evening. Beginning in New York, where federal investigators say a gas main leak has been discovered near the site of last week's deadly building explosion in Harlem. According to the NTSB, the 8-inch main on Park Avenue, just across the street from one of the buildings leveled by the blast that killed 8 people, failed a pressure test. However, the leak has not necessarily been identified as the cause of that blast. Authorities have said the blast occurred about 15 minutes after someone from a neighboring building reported smelling gas. A Seattle TV station has identified the 2 people killed in a news helicopter crash near the Space Needle. KOMO-TV says the victims are the pilot of the helicopter, Gary Fitzner, and former longtime station photographer Bill Strothman, who was working for the helicopter leasing company. The crash occurred this morning as the helicopter took off from the station, and it went down on Broad Street and hit 3 vehicles, injuring 1 person who's said to be listed in critical condition. An official from the National Transportation Safety Board says investigators are working to establish the cause of the crash.
We're still interviewing witnesses. Our investigative team are looking into the mechanical as well as the environment, as well as the pilot issues associated with this crash.
A preliminary report is expected in 5 days, followed by a full report with probable cause. That could take up to a year. In international news, Russia continues to ignore the sanctions and warnings issued by the international community, redrawing its borders to include the Crimean Peninsula. In a very rebellious speech to his parliament, Russian President Vladimir Putin made it clear that he's not backing down.
Our partners have crossed a line that is unprofessional and unacceptable. We do not want to divide Ukraine. We do not need that as far as Crimea is concerned.
In response, the White House says President Obama and German Chancellor Angela Merkel have discussed Russia's annexation of part of Ukraine. The two are said to have agreed that international monitors must immediately be sent to southern and eastern Ukraine. Still to come tonight, the latest on the ongoing troubles surrounding Maryland's healthcare enrollment website. And you may hate to get it done, but new numbers suggest that an uncomfortable screening is helping save thousands of lives. We'll explain after the break.
Find these stories and more at WMDT.com. You're watching WMDT 47 News at 10 with Emily Lampa, David Caldwell, and Chief Meteorologist Travis Michaels with weather. WMDT 47 News continues right now.
Well, we're back looking at, again, some cool conditions, but David?
All righty, thank you, Travis. And here's a look at what's going on in the world of health tonight. Amid a slew of technical problems and a potential investigation by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Maryland's Health Exchange Board is once again taking action when it comes to the state's health enrollment exchange website. Under the new plan, residents who started an application but were unable to finish it before the deadline at the end of the month will be receiving additional help. The board says all those who phone in by March 31st will get a call and special assistance for coverage that would begin May 1st. All 4 carriers offering medical plans in the state exchange are reportedly participating. Also in Maryland, restaurants may soon be more accommodating to customers with food allergies. That's according to a new bill just passed by the Senate yesterday. The bill would let counties require restaurant staffers to be trained on food allergies. Restaurants could also post food allergy advisories on their menu, as well as ask customers to make servers aware of any such allergies. Servers could also ask for any allergies when taking their order. While it's not the most pleasant of medical screenings, but if recent numbers are any indication, it seems like people are finally getting the message about the importance of colonoscopies. Dr. Timothy Johnson explains in tonight's Medical Minute.
Colonoscopy. It's a test that few people relish. But now there's new evidence that more of us are getting it, and that a common deadly cancer just got a little less common. In a new report, the American Cancer Society reveals that colon cancer rates have dropped 30% in patients 50 and older over the past decade, and that colonoscopy use almost tripled in these adults during the same time period. This growing acceptance may be due in part to increased awareness, likely spurred by news anchor Katie Couric's 2001 decision to have a colonoscopy on live TV. So it may be a promising sign that a screening we used to talk about only behind closed doors may now be closing the door on this deadly cancer. With this Medical Minute, I'm Dr. Timothy Johnson.
Coming up, don't feel like cooking this week? Well, maybe not after that story. We'll tell you where you can enjoy a night out while supporting a local cause. Plus, America's coolest small town is gearing up for a big celebration. The exciting details after the break.
WMDT 47 News, Delmarva's choice for more news in less time.
And if you are just joining us tonight, we want to recap what we know so far about some initial reports of shots fired this evening in Salisbury in the area of Route 13 and the Maryland-Delaware state line, potentially near the Maryland State Police Barrack. Officers from state, city, and county departments are currently on the scene. Law enforcement officials tell WMDT that a Maryland state trooper has been injured this evening in Salisbury, but not for gunshot wounds. We want to be clear about that. We are told that the trooper is currently being treated and evaluated at Peninsula Regional Medical Center's emergency room. Now again, details at this time are very limited, and we of course will be sure to bring you the latest on the story as it develops. And now moving on to a look at what's going on across Delmarva and County Connection. If you're planning on dining out this week, there's a way you can enjoy that meal and help a local organization. This Thursday, the Ruby Tuesdays in the center of Salisbury Mall is giving a portion of your bill to the Wicomico Humane Society. So if you present a flyer, 20% of the check will go toward the cause. For more information and to get one of those flyers, head to wicomicohumane.org/events. And you can also lend a helping hand to the Caroline County Humane Society. This month, Girl Scout Troop 616 are collecting donations for homeless animals as part of their service project. Suggested items include dog and cat food, toys, collars, and new or used towels and blankets. You can drop off those donated items this Saturday at Tractor Supply in Easton from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or at St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Denton. The town of Berlin has set its plans for a huge and well-deserved party after winning Budget Travel's America's Coolest Small Town contest. All the fun will kick off March 29th in downtown Berlin, of course. From 1 to 6 p.m., you can enjoy family-friendly activities, including face painting, live music, and lots of good food. There will also be a parade, a cornhole tournament, and even a beer garden. For more information, head to berlinmd.gov.
Well, we've seen some very breezy conditions over the last few days. Keep it right here. We'll be right back with your Hollywood headlines. You're watching WMDT on the CW.
Join us on Facebook at WMDT.com.
Here's a look at your Hollywood headlines tonight. MIA is going head-to-head with the NFL. The National Football League is seeking $16.6 million after she flipped off the camera during her performance at the 2012 Super Bowl. So why that much? The NFL claims the number is based on the alleged damages inflicted on the league, as well as the exposure MIA received from that performance, among other factors. But the performer is firing back, saying they have no grounds to sue because the NFL and NBC failed to activate the 5-second delay system in place for the broadcast. A California toy company has settled its lawsuit against the Beastie Boys over its parody of their song Girls in one of their ads. Goldie Blocks sued back in November after the Beastie Boys threatened their own legal action for copyright infringement. The ad, which shows young girls singing about growing up to be more than just princesses, was viewed millions of times before it was removed from YouTube. According to local reports, an agreement to dismiss the claim was filed yesterday. No additional details of the settlement were released. A judge has refused to dismiss a lawsuit filed by Kim Kardashian and Kanye West against the co-founder of YouTube. The couple sued Chad Hurley in October after he posted footage of Kanye's marriage proposal on his new video sharing site, Mixbit. Hurley said the suit should be dismissed because he posted the video after seeing other online photos and congratulatory notes from celebrities, but Kardashian and West say he signed a confidentiality agreement. In other entertainment news, after winning an Oscar, 2 Golden Globes, and an Emmy, Kate Winslet can add a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame to her list of accomplishments. The British actress was honored with the famous Sidewalk's 2,520th star during today's ceremony. Winslet has been acting since she was 13, landing her first feature film, Beautiful Creatures, back in 1994. She was just 17 back then. All right, that's it for your Hollywood headlines. We're going to take a quick break, and then Travis is going to have a final look at your forecast. First, tonight's winning numbers. Good luck to you.
WMDT 47 News, Delmarva's choice for more news in less time. Hairstyles brought to you by Designer's Edge.
Well, we are welcoming you back with a few light clouds slowly moving through the area. And if you see on your satellite and radar, there is some moisture picking up towards Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, that's going to be something to keep an eye on as we go through about midday tomorrow as that moisture moves up from the south and combines with a system moving in from the west, giving us some showers through your Wednesday afternoon. Now, I would like to let everyone know that the 6 to 10 day outlook that was just put out by the National Weather Service has us in a lot of the mid-Atlantic coast, the states I should say, and about a 90% risk for below average temperatures over the next 6 to 10 days. So with that being said, get out and enjoy the spring-like conditions on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before it gets cold again.
I've never hated the color blue so much in my life.
Understandable.
Thank you very much, Travis. And here's a look at what you can expect tomorrow morning with Lenita and Daniel.
Good evening. Start your day right with Good Morning Delmarva. Tomorrow we have a live interview on an upcoming caregivers conference. It's information you can use. We'll see you then.
For now, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to be up on our Facebook page and our website, WMBT.com. We're going to continue to update you tonight about that ongoing police activity in Salisbury. And also tune in at 11 over on ABC.
And we'll see you guys later tonight. Have a nice evening.